Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alex with Championship on the Line podcast with my co-host Rich. And today we got a very special episode. Our guest today is killing it right now all over the place in NWA and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. He is in the team the Bodega, which is the United Wrestling Network Tag Team Championships. Champions where? The Bodega, where you can get anything you need, even a beatdown. So today we got one of the members from the Bodega. He is from Queens, New York, the king of the concrete jungle, Slice Boogie, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo, Queens, what up? You already know what time it is, man. All my project babies, anyone from the gutter. Even if you grew up in a regular apartment building, even if you had a lawn, if you was broke, I feel you. I feel your pain. What up?
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, man. We've been wanting you for a long time, and we're happy you're here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So as every episode, we like to start things out with fun questions for the fans to get to know you a little bit better. Is that cool? We do that for you?
Ask me anything. I'm brutally honest, super transparent. I don't hold my fucking tongue, man.
Awesome. So I'm gonna ask you some cool, fun questions. Let's start with the first one. What is your favorite movie of all time?
That's hard. I'll be going by genres.
You can name me a few.
If we're gonna go the movie I've seen the most, top three that I've probably watched over 100 times, it's probably Bloodsport, Braveheart, and Rocky IV.
Nice.
I've probably seen those. Are they the best movies, best actors? No, but I've seen them over and over again. So those are probably my three favorite films off the top of my head.
Nice. Those are great movies, man. Bloodsport with John Claude, Rocky Sisters of the Moon. Classics.
Yeah, yeah.
And with the second question, what is your favorite music artist or band you like to listen
to? I've been listening to a lot of Florence and the Machine lately. Ooh. It's real cinematic music. It calms me down. Obviously, I can name a million rappers. I've been listening to rap and R&B since I was a kid, but Florence and the Machine is something out of left field I've been listening to. If I'm driving a long way, that shit. I watch a live performance, and she sounds better live than on the track. So,
yeah, she does.
So that's one of my favorite bands right now. If we're not talking rap.
And what would be your favorite song from them?
Probably Only for a Night, probably, or Drumming Song, or Bird Song. I could go on. But when she does those live, or Cosmic Love, she does those live, people go crazy. And she's mad hype. It's different.
Yeah.
Her live performance is not like the album. It's her energy. She's like a witch on the stage. She looks like a damn witch. I like that shit. I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. And then with the third question, what is your favorite TV show?
All time? Probably as far as humor, it's probably The Office. Office and Seinfeld for humor. Yeah. Those are and It's Always Sunny. Oh man, you could just sit down and watch those, and you don't really have to worry about what happened. You don't have to watch it in chronological order and be lost. Those three shows, you can watch any episode and just lose it. As far as serious shows, I'm big on The Wire. It's very accurate as far as the streets are concerned.
Okay, cool.
That's awesome. You pick our favorite shows and our favorite movies right now. Alex and I love Bloodsport. Seinfeld, my favorite show of all time. Yeah,
classic show. I was just watching the Seinfeld scene where he got a massage from a guy and he was freaking out.
Yeah.
That was on Boxden.com. I was dying laughing.
That's awesome. Who would be your favorite character from Seinfeld?
Stanza. Such a nutcase. Yeah, such a nutcase. Seinfeld had all the sneakers, all the girls, but Costanza was the funniest guy. You can relate to him sometimes. When things ain't going your way, shit never went his way.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've been watching Snowfall a lot though. Lately, as far as new shows,
okay.
Snowfall is my current favorite. That's still going on.
Cool. Awesome. And then with the next question, outside of wrestling, is there any like hobbies you like to do? Any like do for fun?
I mean, I don't have anything out of the ordinary. Like I cook, but we all cook to survive. Lift weights. I used to be big on basketball. I stopped playing basketball when I started wrestling. Just I couldn't do it. Like my knees, my ankles. I still love basketball, baseball. Big on sports. There's nothing video game. I've been playing video games since I was like a newborn baby. Like just nothing out of the ordinary. I don't have a sewing hobby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't like fucking build anything. I used to take apart my Dreamcast and fix it. That's about it. Like I don't have any crazy like out of this world hobbies. You know, video games, workout. I feel like video games and wrestlers go hand in hand now. It's like if you don't play video games as a wrestler now, it's like you're almost not the norm. Everybody I know, every wrestler I know plays video games. Like it's crazy.
It's true.
That's true. It just mixes very well. Wrestling, video games.
Yeah, like back in the day, if you played video games, you were like a nerd unless you played like Madden or NBA. But now it's like everyone plays. All the NBA players play video games. You know, they're on Twitch playing Warzone, and they make $40 million a year. They could be doing whatever they want, and they're at home playing Warzone. So I feel like it's brought people together. Like you feel like these athletes and these celebrities are a little like more like you. Whereas before, you don't know what they were doing. You know, like you think of Michael Jordan, like you don't know what he was doing in his day-to-day life. Now you could see, you know, LeBron or his son playing Warzone. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it also, speaking of video games, with the next question, what is your favorite video game of all time?
I mean, it would have to be like the NBA 2K series.
Yeah. Okay.
But if we're talking like a standalone game, there's a game called Chrono Cross for PS1. So that was like a Chrono Trigger sequel. Like an RPG, Square, same company that makes Final Fantasy. But that game was crazy. There were like so many characters, so many like timelines you could go through. Like you could play it 25 times and have different ending every time. So that was a crazy game. Chrono Cross. I'm mad I sold it because that shit is worth money now.
I know.
A lot of the PS1 games are worth money now. I had Brave Fencer, Musashi, like that game is worth money. Mad games are just worth money now. It's weird. You wouldn't think it back then, but now they're like rare games.
Yeah, it sucks.
Those
like
even like the Pokemon ones too.
Which ones? Pokemon?
Yeah, like even the cards now. Like
I used to have a Charizard
like for Game
card.
Boy, those are the resale value is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, are they? Shit, I haven't even looked at the Pokemon Game Boy games. I had the original. I had Red, Pokemon Red.
Yeah, with the little like this size, like a square. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had like red and blue.
Yeah,
and gold. The gold one.
Like, the game was like
it's ridiculous. The resale value is ridiculous.
You can't even describe like the graphics on the original Game Boy. Like it's like green and white. It's like a shadow. Like, you know, now like games look so crazy. Like I used to play a game and it was a fucking shadow. Like it looked like dust. Everyone looked like dust on the screen. Like I'm old, man. I'm just showing my age, but it's crazy. Crazy where we at right now.
I remember as a kid too, you know, playing Game Boy and you had to use like a flashlight if you're driving like on a road trip in a car. Or use like an attachment, you know?
Yeah, there's no light up screen. Now like a phone is like more powerful than anything. Like an iPhone has better graphics than anything you could think of. Except I guess the Switch or whatever, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then with the next question, do you have a favorite type of food or favorite meal you like to eat?
That's hard to pick, man. I'm big on food. I eat all types of food. I love steak, though. I mean, I would always choose if I could choose a grand meal and one type of meat, it would probably be steak. I love pizza. You know, I'm big on seafood. But if you said, you can only have one type of meat right now, it would be steak. And then, one veggie, it'd be like mashed potatoes or something. You know, it don't get no more simple than that. But if it's done right, it's the best.
Awesome. And then with the next question, what is your favorite sports teams?
Knicks all day, had a good year, came up short. New York Mets, first place in the division. Mm-hmm. And this might not make sense, but Kansas City Chiefs, since I was like 12 years old. because they used to have Tony Gonzalez, Priest Holmes, Dante Hall, Trent Green. We were like the most exciting offense. It was called the greatest show on turf because they used to play on like AstroTurf. They might still play on AstroTurf, but that was my favorite team as a kid. Like when I was like 5 years old, I didn't really have a favorite football team. You know, I didn't get into football until I was like a little older. Like I played baseball and basketball since I was like 3-4 years old. But Chiefs fan, hockey, I don't give a shit about. Sorry, I can't. What other sports are there? Like soccer, I don't really watch. Baseball, basketball, football, like that was the main three.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then with the next question, before your match, before you hit the curtain, is there any rituals you like to do before you get in the ring?
Not really. I just pace back and forth. This is like if you look at some of the veterans, like the guys who've been doing it a long, long time, like, they don't go back and forth. They just sit in the chair. They let their mind go back and forth. But me, I can't sit still. I be getting so hyped for a match. I just be like pacing a back and forth, like trying to stretch, jumping around. I can't sit still. You know, I'm hyper. Like it's like I'm getting ready for a fight. That's pretty much I don't have anything else that I do specifically. You know, I don't like tie my sneakers 8 times or anything crazy like that. I also make sure that I have not eaten before a match. My biggest fear is taking a shit right in the middle of the ring. So I do not want that to happen. You know what I mean? If I have to have an Iron Man match one day for an hour, maybe I'll eat a little snack for some energy, but I can't be wrestling on a full stomach, bro.
Awesome. And then with the next question, if you can have a match that isn't a wrestler, it could be a celebrity, it could be an athlete, it could be a character from a show or a movie, who would it be?
Right now, it would be Jake or Logan Paul, because I'll beat the shit out of them for $40 million and I'll retire forever. Because like these guys are getting paid to do something they don't know anything about.
I know, yeah.
So I would literally, I would be able to wrestle either of them, make millions, and probably beat the shit out of them, to be honest, and, you know, live a comfortable life.
Yep.
And if they did beat me somehow, you know, then a rematch, you know, more money.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll let it happen. I'll ride off in the sunset. 1-0 on Triller. If we're talking any wrestler of all time, it would probably be Undertaker. That's my favorite. That's my favorite wrestler. So,
and if you did face the Pauls in the match, how would you see that match going? How would you finish them?
I'd probably just knock him out right away. You know what I mean? I don't even know if I would have to grab a hold. If I would choke him out, it wouldn't even be like, I don't know if I would even like give them a chance, you know?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm going to lock up with him. I might just cheap shot him. I'm grimy. I might put my hand out, elbow, choke him out, or punch him in the gut, power drive him on his head, and it's over. 1, 2, 3, call it a night. $1 million in 24 seconds. Cut the check. Word.
Awesome. Well, once again, man, really appreciate you taking the time to do this, man. We've been wanting you to come on for a long time. And the first time that Rich and I saw you wrestle live was it was a suburban fight. And it was a match in Fullerton. And it was against Dom Kubrick.
Oh, I remember that match.
And I remember watching it. It was such a great match. I think it was like a no disqualification. You guys were hitting each other with, the tables, chairs,
bleeding and shit. That wasn't really supposed to happen. Like no one's supposed to bleed, but he was bleeding. Now that wasn't my fault. You know what I mean? But I remember that match. I think I lost that match too. He got lucky. But we had fun there. It was a small ass area too. It was like a little ass area. But yeah, those suburban fight matches are always, that's like right up my alley. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I could wrestle in the ring. I'm a pretty good wrestler, but if we having a backstage brawl or something, like that's right up my alley. Like, I could do that all day, and I could entertain people doing that all day because I've done that shit like in real life. So it ain't no thing for me to have a backroom brawl, barroom brawl. Like that's like, that was me 10 years ago in real life. I get paid for this now? Okay. I'll get paid for it now. Perfect.
Yeah, because I remember like this is like a first suburban fight show that we've ever been to. So we're going there. I'm like, man, how are they gonna wrestle such a small little like space?
Yeah.
You know, and then there's audience too. So like,
yeah,
how are you?
yeah. And then there's like concrete floor and all that. And then you can't destroy the whole venue. You know, you get sued.
Yeah.
But we make it happen, man. That's what pros do. We make it happen.
But yeah, it was an awesome match. An awesome match. I remember to Rich, I'm like, it was the match of the night.
Oh yeah, well, like we try to be characters as well, not just do wrestling moves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing.
So then, like,
your match, like Alex and I were like, it was so intense in there. Like the intensity went up, and the fans were into it. And Alex was like, this is a street fight. This is a brawl. Like the moves you guys were doing, like you said, like it was a fight, but there was wrestling involved and like characters. Like hands down, Alex and I were like, this is the greatest thing we've seen. Because we were like a little nervous. We went in there like, oh, it's kind of small. Like, how's it gonna work? And then we see you make your entrance, and we see him make his entrance. Like, oh shoot, this is it. This is like
real life.
Yeah. This is real life. Like, it's a real fight gonna happen.
Well, your match was incredible.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, Dom is. We went to the same school, so I know him in and out. So it's like, he's also his own type of character, and his type of character and me will not mix together. Like I don't need. Not that there's anything wrong with like two men being romantically involved, but that's not my cup of tea. So when he tries to touch me, not happening. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. He's tough in his own right. He was bleeding and shit. Like I didn't think he was gonna bleed. Like I think he bled when he came at me and I threw him up over me and his head hit like the archway.
Yeah.
So that's when he started bleeding. I'm like, how the hell did you start bleeding from that? But hey. You want to fight? We got to fight. If you bleed, better you than me, buddy. I ain't have to pay for any stitches at the end of the night. But yeah, those shows are fun. Those shows are fun, and we get to be a little more raw. You know, like I've been able to on certain shows. I have to tone it down. If I'm not allowed to curse, not allowed to be as mean as I really am. But those shows, we can do whatever we want. You know what I mean? And I've been able to entertain people in every suburban fight I've had. So yeah, those are fun. I'm trying. I can't remember you brought that match up. I'm thinking you're gonna say like a regular match.
No, this was the first match I ever saw you live was the suburban fight, and I remember too because the character you have like that's like really how you are. So like when I remember seeing you, I remember you were like in a booth, and you're selling like your shirts. And you kind of had like this, like, you know, like it was intimidating to go up to you because I want to like go up and I'm like, oh no, like he looks like mean, like he looks like he's mad. So I was like, oh man, I'm like intimidated. Like I don't want to go up to him.
Yeah, I've been told that it's definitely not good for selling merch, but once people talk to me, I'll be cool. I don't really be angry. I mean, you just gotta look a certain way. Like I've been like that. People always tell me I'm mean, but I was just in Atlanta last weekend, and people are like, hey, you look like you about to fuck somebody up. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm just fucking tired. Like, but like, it keeps like the homeless people from bothering me, or like the crazy crackheads from bothering me. Like, hey, that's how I had to grow up. It was like, if you bother me, we gonna get into some shit. Maybe I need to smile more. Maybe I'll sell some more shirts.
Yeah, because it just seemed like you want to like it looks like you're gonna fight someone. Like you're just like having your head down, like you're just gonna like get ready to fight. And I was like, oh man.
But I love it because like I thought he just got off of a fight right now. Like
I also took a loss too. I ain't gonna be all happy and shit. No. If I won, I would have been like, party over here. But nah, I took an L. You know, I had to eat that L real quick.
Awesome. But yeah, man, it's been really exciting to see from that time, and now we've been doing an NWA in Hollywood, and I'm, you know, Rich and I are so happy for you for the success you've been having going to NWA, you know, and then going with the Bodega in Hollywood. It's been awesome to see you do those things, and you know, with everything going on with COVID and everything, how's it been wrestling in this time and wrestling with no audience? How's it been that for you?
For me, I can't say it was hard, but it definitely wasn't as enjoyable. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. My character is big on crowd interaction. Mm-hmm. I want people to like. I want to tell people how I feel before a crowd member boos me. I'm gonna tell them they look funny. Like I'm gonna tell them I don't like their outfit. I'm gonna tell them I don't like their face. I'm gonna tell them their girlfriend would look better with me on their arm. Like I'm that type of guy. Like I'm gonna start with the crowd before they even boo me. So for me not to have that as an option, it was a learning experience, you know, because I'm always gonna talk shit to my opponent. I'm always gonna give my opponent my full attitude. You know what I mean? But when you don't have any crowd there to like not really give you cues, but you know the crowd lets you know how the match is going, kind of sort of.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't know. You might have done something in a match and thought it was really cool, but let's say you tried again with the crowd there and the crowd doesn't care. You know, or you might have done something. You might have done something simple in a match that you didn't even think about, and the crowd might have went crazy for it if the crowd was there. So as far as learning, it just wasn't as enjoyable for me. Like that crowd, the crowd brings adrenaline, and that adrenaline can make you do some crazy shit. Like a little more adrenaline might make me moonsault to the outside, you know, if I had it, you know, if I had to. But without the crowd, you work a little smarter, you work a little slower. But I'm happy that crowds are back, and you know, like stuff is picking up right now. But I was able to find some success when shows started up. I'm not as busy as I want to be, but I feel like I'm slowly getting my name out there, and people are like, "Yo, who is this guy?" Like, COVID kind of slowed my momentum down because I was doing like I was on the up and up.
Yeah.
COVID just flatlined everything, but I've been able to like hit the ground running, so to speak.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then like, you know, talking about, you know, everything that's been going on with your career, you know, I want to go back to the early stages. You know, what got you into wrestling? How did that journey start for you?
As far as being a fan or as far as trying to wrestle?
Just being a fan.
So my brother, I was just in North Carolina for my brother's birthday. My brother's 8 years older than me. So ever since I was born, he was watching wrestling. You know what I mean? We're talking like, I don't even want to give up my age, but we're talking like mid 80s, late 80s wrestling. You know, heyday. Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man, Ted DiBiase, Jake the Snake, like this time of wrestling. Like, it was always on TV. So like I just had to watch it since I was a kid. Same thing, same way baseball was on in the house, basketball, same way. I mean, I don't even think X-Men the cartoon was out yet. Like Ninja Turtles, Voltron, like whatever he was watching as a kid, I was watching. All that. Akira, Fist of the North Star, whatever he was watching, I was watching. So I grew up on it. And I mean, I would wrestle outside as a kid on the playgrounds, like we all did, you know. I got suspended so many times for giving people a stunner, like in 8th grade, 10th grade. That's the type of move where whether you like it or not, I'm gonna do it to you. You know what I mean? I don't need you to bend over to power bomb you. Nah, like I'm gonna stun you while you're like checking your notes. So I was always playing wrestling outside, getting in trouble to wrestle. But then like I started getting good at basketball, so I wrestling. I wasn't watching it as much. I had to watch a little more basketball to study. And I stopped watching wrestling for years. Like when Cena was on top, I would catch a few matches. Taker Shawn, Taker Flair. I would catch like the CM Punk Cena. I would only catch the big matches. You know what I mean? I wasn't watching every pay-per-view. I wasn't watching the Raw. Unless something crazy happened, I would like watch the YouTube highlights. And I fell out of love with wrestling for mad long. And then a friend of mine moved to when I moved to LA. A friend of mine moved here like a year later, and we would just catch like WrestleMania or the Royal Rumbles, like the fun pay-per-views. You know what I mean? Because I don't like Royal Rumble. To me, is the most fun you could have on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like the event itself, it's just someone's always gonna surprise you. Something funny's gonna happen. So like we were working out together for a few months, and I was getting in good shape, and I kept talking about being a wrestler as a joke, and he was like, "Why don't you do it? You keep talking about it, do it." So I ended up finding Santino Bros Wrestling School, and I just went to like a one-day tryout, and it just felt right. Like I was in that ring, I was moving good. I could tell that they wanted me to sign up because I guess they don't have like, it's hard. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people go to these one-day tryouts, and it's hard, and they quit right away. I was doing it like a breeze. I was a natural. Yeah. So that's just how it started, man. As a one-day tryout and a joke, just to see how it feels in the ring. I took off running. I signed up. I debuted like 6 months later, and it was lit. It was lit, real quick.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I can relate with being like a fan because like I'm the little brother, so whatever he watched, I would watch everything. So like he would put on SmackDown, and I was like, oh, what's this? And I saw Rey
Yeah.
Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, and I'm like, oh man,
Yeah, yeah. And then if he was into it, you get into it, because big brothers have that effect, until
Yeah.
you get a little older, then you find your own way. But wrestling growing up was like, I don't know. I don't care what era you grow up in, but like wrestling is, as a kid, wrestling is like, especially if you go there in like real life. Like I went to like a match when I was young in Madison Square Garden. Like Bret Hart was there, Taker was there. All these guys were there, and like I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I feel like wrestling in real life is more impressive than on TV. When you go there, and even like when I was starting out as a student, so when you're a student, you have to help out on the shows. Whether you have to be security guard or whatever, cameraman, whatever you got to do. Just watching like people that I train with have these matches, like I couldn't believe it. Like sometimes I'll just get stuck. Like I train with these motherfuckers 3 days a week, but now like it's different ball game. Like where you have fans, even if it's only 50 fans, it's like it's captivating. Wrestling is it's special in person. So yeah, I could feel you on that. Like just watching that as a kid, like. Obviously, it's sometimes nostalgia is better, So you wish it was how you miss Rey Mysterio doing shit back in the day compared to now. But if that's your favorite wrestler, he's like a living legend. I just met him like a few weeks ago. Him and his son, and they came up to me like, "How you doing? Nice to meet." Not even they. I'm sure they don't know who I am, but like very respectful people. You know what I mean? Like this is a living legend. Rey Mysterio is like one of the few living legends who's still wrestling. You know what I mean? Taker's done. A lot of people are done. Like this guy, him and Jericho are still at it. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's true because you think of like even like the Ruthless Aggression, there's like who's still wrestling, like Orton, like pretty much like that's pretty much it. Like who else is still wrestling that era?
Could you call? I guess you could call Orton a living legend, but fuck. I'm just thinking about guy like how long has Rey Mysterio been wrestling? Like 30 years, 20 years, 20 plus years?
Yeah.
Definitely. It's 2021. He was on Nitro in like 96, 95. Yo, nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you think about it. And his son was there too. It's like his son has been able to like, it's crazy. Shout out to them, man. Those are living legends right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like being a fan, was there anything like you collected? Did you ever collect like action figures or anything like that?
I was never really a collector. Like I would always buy merch. Like I would get like an Undertaker tape or shirts or like whatever, like just random merch. But I never really collected. Like if I had a toy, I'm opening them, and he's going right in the ring or whatever the fuck we having a hardcore match above the fucking bathtub. Like that was me. I was using my toys were all having matches, and it was like wrestling toys versus X-Men versus Alien versus Predator versus fucking Mickey Mouse. Whatever toy I had a Mickey Mouse toy that was stuck like this. He couldn't move. And what's the finish? A fucking choke slam, because that's all you can do.
It's awesome.
So like I would have matches with these toys. So I never really collected. I didn't really realize the value of the toys and like that, and that's a hobby itself, man. I don't collect anything anymore. I used to collect sneakers, but it's hard to keep up with those hobbies sometimes. And then when you have to sell something, it breaks your heart.
Yeah, that's true. And like we were talking about earlier with like games going up in price, like even figures are going up in price. Like it's ridiculous how money worth that they're getting into.
I mean, I can imagine. I see you got a collection behind you right there. Like, shit. If you had to sell that Orange Cassidy, you'd probably be fucking sick.
Yeah.
But you got to pay the bills sometimes. That shit happens.
Yeah, that's true. And like going back, training at Satino's, was there any advice that they given you that you still keep to this day?
There's too much advice that I keep to this day. Like, I had a very good experience there. Not to say that they like... I mean, I guess I was one of their favorites only because I feel like I was a good student. Like, I wasn't the type of student who's going to be dangerous. I wasn't the type of student who was going to do something that I wasn't allowed to do. I would make jokes in the ring and pop shit, but that ended up becoming part of my character. Some people would try it and it wouldn't work for them. I could talk shit all day. It's like it's like one of my qualities. Like I might not be able to do every submission, but I could talk shit like with the best of them. So they always told me, they just told me to like keep working hard and don't forget who you are when you're out there. Don't take 5 seconds off and become your Milton. You know, you're Slice Boogie all day.
Mm-hmm.
From the moment you step out to the moment you go through those curtains, don't forget who you are as a wrestler. You know, that was big advice. And also, they would tell me, you know, don't do dangerous stuff, don't do this, don't do that. But then I'm looking back at the trainers when they were my age doing crazy shit. So I was like, yo, but now I understand because I'm beat up, and you know they just want me to have a long career, and they know that I'm not a young man who could recover in like next day. If I started wrestling when I was 18, I'd probably be doing crazy shit. Like I could probably do it all, but you know, like I would probably have to because I wouldn't be this size. I wouldn't be as intimidating as I am now. So I have to use what I can to my advantage and work smarter, not harder. You got to work smarter now.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, you know, going to school, you know, training, you know, was there any film that you would watch on a wrestler to kind of emulate your style to get inspiration from?
When I was training, they would tell us to watch certain people just based on what we're learning. You know, if we're learning a punch, they'll be like, oh, watch Bobby Eaton. He throws a crazy good like right hand. You know, if you're learning like power bombs, like they would tell you to watch certain people or watch how Kevin Nash's power bomb is different than Psycho Sid's, or you know what I mean? It would be based on the move that you're learning and who did it well. But once I debuted, I was watching highlights all day. I was trying to get ideas, pick from here, pick from there, pick from here. Because I don't want to, like, a lot of these guys want to be the next Will Ospreay or the next Kenny Omega, and they'll copy every move, and they don't do it as good. So what's the point? You know, I know that I do a very good German, so I'm gonna keep that in my repertoire. I think I do a good spear, but I don't like the move. I don't like the spear. Everyone does it, so I'm not gonna do the spear. You have like every indie wrestler does a spear and a cutter, and they're doing the same moves, and it just doesn't stand out. You know what I mean? One good German is better than 5 mediocre high spots. So I've learned that you just got to do what you do well, and if you don't do something that well, you keep practicing it and don't do it in matches. Don't do a shitty kick, a shitty super kick, or a shitty clothesline. Like my school is big on that. Like if you do a bad move after the match is over, they'll be like, yo, that clothesline was weak, and you'll be like, fuck, you better tighten it up. We got to tighten it up. My school is big on making everything look good.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really like good advice too. You know, it's good to have a select move set and have it polished than doing moves that, you know, they look cool, but you can't really do it and you're trying, you know, like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, Randy Orton doesn't do that many moves. I'm sure he could do way more than he does now, but what he does, like the power slam, DDT, RKO, like it always looks beautiful. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's a reason, because those are the moves that he's mastered. He hasn't just learned, he's mastered. There's guys who will learn a move and they learn how to do it without killing someone, and now they think they could do it in a move in the middle of a flurry high spot, and it just looks bad, bro. It looks but I'm not saying any names. That's just a lot of guys out there, they don't respect that each moves don't matter in the big scheme of things, but what moves you do make them matter. You know, make it matter. If I'm gonna throw a punch, or if I'm gonna throw like a fucking clothesline or a little gut wrench, something that's not gonna end the match, I'm gonna make it look good. I want you to think that maybe I will end the match. Maybe I'll steal the match with this gut wrench. But everyone, I don't know, man. That's what I'm learning at NWA, that everything matters, because that's a little different. That's a little more old school. Ain't gonna be no destroyers and quadruple moonsaults there. These are big boys. Word.
And so, like, you know, finishing up, you know, training, you know, what was it like making your debut for the first time? How did it feel for you to come out of the curtains for the first time and seeing the crowd and, you know, having your first match?
Super nervous. Like I get nervous for matches now, but it was a different type of nervous back then. Now I get nervous for matches now, but it's once I've stepped through those curtains, I'm so comfortable I could work. And by work, I mean like when you go out there let's say you have something planned or whatever. You're not gonna have the whole match planned out. Now, when I wrestle, you got to be able to work. You got to be able to go out there and work on the fly. Whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? Back then, when you first debut, if something didn't go right, you'll freak out and you'll be lost. Like, what the fuck am I doing? So I was definitely nervous for my first match. And I got to wrestle somebody that I was training with like 3 days a week, RJ Santos. And we ended up having a pretty decent match. We tried some shit that we did some shit that didn't look that good. Like I tried to powerbomb him from the middle rope and he roned me and I almost killed myself. But we had to try it. You know what I mean? It's like but that's when you're younger, you don't know any better. Like maybe you should have waited to do that when you could do it perfect. But we were just young and green and we just went for it. But people were entertained, and from as soon as I came through the curtains, I was letting the crowd have it. So that's something that it just comes to me natural. So it felt good to be able to have that match. I forgot who was there. One of my friend who told me to wrestle was there. Like some of my family was there, and they were very entertained. They were happy that I found something I like doing. And that was on a smaller scale, a dojo show, maybe 50 people max. And it's just crazy how things are slowly going up. You know what I mean? But I feel like everyone's nervous for their first match. There's people who are nervous 10 years in. You just it just fucks with your nerves, man, because anything could happen out there. You could have the best match of your life. You could have the worst match of your life. It's not like anything. It's just that's all I can really say. Anything can happen out there. So you have to be a little nervous, a little on edge, but you have to be like laser focused. When I go out there, I'm laser focused for real.
Absolutely. Every match you have, you could tell, even like watching in Hollywood, you're focused, you're ready to go, you deliver every match. Every match is awesome. And, and also speaking like, 2019, you're the SoCal Uncensored Rookie of the Year. What did that mean for you and for your career to win that award?
I mean, I felt like all the hard work paid off for that award. From like, I remember telling Joey Chaos, who's like Santino Brothers, like the owner of the school, like, he's like, oh, where do you see yourself? Like before I even debuted, I was like, I don't know, man. I'd like to be an independent wrestler, have some matches. And he's like, what? He's like, you should be telling me you want to go to WWE or New Japan. Like you want a world title. And then he made me realize that I have to be a little more confident and that maybe I'm better than I think I am. Because, as a student, you got to be humble. If you act like a hotshot student, you will get beat down. I mean, I wasn't acting like that. But there are times where someone act like a hotshot when I graduated and I had to put them in their place. And you see people get put in their place all the time. So I had to learn that I should be a little more confident and that when I felt like I did deserve the award. I was the best wrestler out of all these people. Like I might have not been the most popular wrestler out of everyone on that list. I might have not have traveled the most out of everyone on that list, but I was the best wrestler. And I was in there with people, well above my talent range and putting out good ass matches. So it validated all the hard work, and I expected to win it though. Like I expected to win that. It was no contest for me. Like no one was, as far as a pure wrestler, entertainer, no one was on that level. No one in that. And I feel like eventually, maybe not this year, but next year, I'm gonna go for that Wrestler of the Year award. I don't feel like people. I just need a couple more opportunities. You know what I mean? Because like the show slowed down. I'm not on every show. I'm not on AEW. I'm not in New Japan, but it'll happen. I'll be making big moves soon, and then the whole world is gonna, realize this guy's not fucking around. Like this guy's, and he's way more entertaining than a lot of people we have on TV. So I'm just waiting, trying to get healthier, have these matches, man. Everything's opening up. So being a Rookie of the Year, I felt I deserved it. I don't feel like I got lucky. I felt like I deserved that award. And if you look at what I've done first 2 years of my career, like it shows, you know what I mean? It shows that they were right with their choice.
Oh, absolutely. I remember watching even like, I think at the time when we watched it Suburban, I think you already won that award. And I told Rich, I'm like, it shows. I mean,
yeah, like, of course he did. Yeah.
And one match I wanted to talk about, there was one match I saw on YouTube, and it was a match. I think it was at the Bumps and Bruises, and it was between you and Chad Gasper from Crime Time. And what was that match like for you and working with him?
I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous to wrestle. He was like the first WWE guy I ever wrestled, and like some shit went wrong in the match, like real early. Like I was gonna try to dive outside, and like it didn't happen. So then I tried to hop over the top rope and tripped. And like I was like, that's the first and probably only time I've ever heard the "you fucked up" chants. And I was freaking out. So I flipped over the top rope. I froze up. Shad just punched me in the gut. Ric Flaired me off the apron onto the concrete. And I was like, oh shit. And then he picked me up, started beating me up a little, told me to relax. You know what I mean? And I got to see what a true WWE superstar veteran, how they could save a match like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When shit does go wrong, like that was probably the only match that I ever messed anything up. He brought me back to earth like this, back to the show. You know what I mean? And that opened my eyes to what a true professional can do. True professional is not just going to squash you. True professional is going to make you look good and lead by example. I don't think a lot of people realize that wrestling, like sometimes you might not notice it, but a lot of things go wrong during matches, and a true professional will cover it up, and you'll never know. You know what I mean? So it was a big learning experience, and like he was like, I want to say he was kind of like a mentor, but we didn't talk a lot. But anytime I wanted advice, I would hit him up. He would gladly give it to me. Like we both grew up in New York, both grew up in the slums. He was a good dude, man. Like he was a real good dude. And like when he passed, it was fucked up. But you see the way he passed, saving his son, it was like no brainer. If that doesn't show you what kind of stand up guy this guy is, it sucked. But that was like my first experience wrestling like a true professional who's been at the top of the game. You know what I mean? The WWE, whether people like it or not, is the upper echelon. You know what I mean? WWE New Japan. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I was happy with the match. The crowd was into it. They got to tease me. I was able to turn it around, you know, give it to him a little, but he got lucky. At the end of the day, he got lucky. He took the win. He was like fucking 300 pounds. What do you want from me? But, you know, that was a good match. I enjoyed it. It was an eye opener for me that even though I fucked up, I could still entertain and have a match with a WWE guy, even when I was very young in my career. Very, very young.
Yeah, because I remember just watching that match. You guys beat each other up, up in that whole match.
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous for that one, though. I ain't gonna lie. I was pretty nervous for that match. But he was a good dude, man. He was a good dude, but like, he was a real guy. And I'm confident about beating people up. I don't think I could beat that guy in real life. He was like a trained fighter, boxer, like Word. Wrestling world lost a good one.
Absolutely. And, you know, and also, you know, going from there and then, you know, going to Hollywood, how did that come about, you joining Championships from Hollywood?
So, like, I was planning on going there, but I wasn't too sure. Because from what I had went there once to visit, and it seemed to be not political, but like there wasn't as much freedom that I would like as a wrestler. Like if I wanted to do a certain move, I feel like I wouldn't be allowed to do it. They were operating much like WWE, I guess. You know what I mean? Where like you're allowed to do this, and that, but you can't do this. But then like from what I was told, Aaron Stevens, formerly known as Damian Sandow, was like executive producer, and we talked and we were cool. So he brought me in. You know, I spoke to Marquez, the owner, and he's like, "Yeah, come in." I didn't really know what to expect. So I think the first match I had there was with Danny Limelight, and like they were like, you know, you guys could do pretty much whatever you want. And I was like, really? I thought this place was micromanaged, and I couldn't even do a suplex if I don't get the green light. So the amount of freedom that I had there to do what I want, obviously I can't curse or be as like, you know, adult oriented as I usually am. But it was a very good learning experience to work in front of cameras. I never worked in front of cameras before that, and I was able to like get it right away. You know what I mean? And then you have to wrestle a certain time. You can't on a TV show. You can't be going over your times. So I was all learning experience. And I've been happy there. You know, I've been able. Obviously, I've been put together in a faction that people find very entertaining. I don't really consider myself a tag wrestler, but it's three of us. You know, if someone ain't there, the other one will fill it in. You know what I mean? Um, I've had fun there. You know, I'm still learning. I would like to get like a title shot. I consider myself more of a singles specialist, but I share the tag belts, the good looking belts. So you know, I can't complain. And then through that show, I was able to do Primetime Live and wrestle, you know, Davey Boy Smith Jr., who's like a 20, 30-year vet. Like the guy's been wrestling for like over 20 years. Nuts. A real professional. I got to wrestle Carl Fredericks, New Japan's top American. I love that match. That's my type of match. If we're gonna hit each other, we're gonna hit each other hard. But like being able to hang with him, let me know. Maybe I could have a future in New Japan. Maybe I'm a little too old to start the whole dojo system, but maybe I could come in, you know, have a few matches, prove to them that I could work their style. You know, believable, hard-hitting wrestling doesn't have to be, you know, so fucking, you know what I mean? Just different style wrestling. I don't knock any wrestling. You know, like comedy wrestling, there's a place and time for it. Or deathmatch wrestling, do I want to do it? No, but I respect those guys. Those guys are nuts. But I feel like I would fit well in New Japan. But you know what I mean? That's for time to tell. But Hollywood has opened doors. Hollywood's opened doors to NWA. You know, if they didn't see me on Hollywood and see, oh, this guy could work on TV, this guy could do this, and that, then I wouldn't have been in NWA. NWA doesn't want to just, oh, this guy had a good match in the Indies with no cameras. You know what I mean? It all matters at the end of the day. It all matters.
Yeah, because like I think New Japan would be a really good fit for you, especially for your style. But honestly, I think you would fit anywhere where you would go. I think Ring of Honor or Impact or, you know, AEW or NXT. I think you would fit anywhere, honestly. You know, and every match you've been doing in Hollywood's been such great matches, and it's been like one of my favorite things going watching Hollywood every week is watching you guys, watching the Bodega. You know, especially with the promos and everything and the matches you guys deliver. Like I remember like a couple weeks ago, you guys had like the Fatal 4-Way tag team match, which was crazy. You guys, you know, I think it was Commodities and 4 Minutes of Heat, and it was a really great match. You know, what were your thoughts on that?
We work smarter, not harder. You know, we let them beat each other up. And then, you know, I try to steal a win, hurt my arm a little. They work my arm, but it's good. It's just classic wrestling. You know what I mean? Could I do indie wrestling where like high work rate GCW? Sure. You know, I could do it all. I'm just once I get those opportunities, I'll show. But if we're talking TV style wrestling, having a smooth, good tag match, singles match, it's easy for me. I can do it in my sleep. And with the Bodega and tag matches, you just got to work a little smarter, a little more strategic, and you have a partner to fall back on. I get to fall back on Papo. No brainer. I don't know if I even had a match where it's just me and Limelight, but I let Limelight do all the fast work. You know, he could run around for fucking 2 hours. And then, you know, let me come in when the guy's weak, drop him on his head, call it a night. Straight like that. So having 2 partners to fall back on, it lightens the load on my kneecaps, for real.
And in the chemistry too, you guys match so perfectly well. You know, you, Limelight, you know, Papo. You know, if there's a wrestler out there that wants to do a tag team, what advice can you give to them to be as successful as you guys are?
I don't know, man, because we are a tag team, but we're like a freebird rule. We're more of a faction. I wouldn't consider myself a tag wrestler. We're more of a faction. But I just feel like if you're going to have a tag partner, you have to be on the same page. You have to have the same goals. And sometimes you have to compromise. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not going to be your match. Sometimes you're going to get your ass whipped in the match, and you got to rely on your partner to save the day, and vice versa. Sometimes you're going to have all the shine in the match. Sometimes you're going to not beat the shit out of everybody, and your partner's going to have a black eye, and you're going to have to help him up. And and he might share the glory, or he might share, the loss. So it's just a lot of compromise, trying to be on the same page. And when it comes to your tag team partner, don't kiss your tag team partner's ass, because then you're gonna get outshined. You're gonna get Shawn Michaels to Marty Jannetty. So make sure you guys are always, you're trying to outdo each other, but you're on the same page.
Mm-hmm. You like I said, you guys match perfectly well. Yeah, you guys are the best tag team right now. You guys are hot right now as the championships, and especially going from there and then going to NWA. You made your debut and Back for the Attack, beating Jordan Clearwater, Crimson, Jack Stain. How was that debut like for you and joining NWA? What was that whole experience like for you?
It was a very good experience between the pay-per-view and like the tapings for the NWA Power. I feel like I've been able to gain the locker room's respect as a professional wrestler. You know what I mean? They're not looking at me as a little kid, super green boy, doesn't know what he's doing, not safe, can't trust this guy. They're looking at me as an equal, as someone they could trust in the ring to help put on a good wrestling match. So I feel like I've been able to establish some value there, and just in wrestling in general. Like, this guy has gone from an relatively unknown independent guy to now working with a bigger promotion on TV, entertaining the crowd, taking risk, talking with the best of them. It's been a good experience for me. It's helped my confidence. Even though I've been working through like a little knee injury, I'm still able to have a real good, solid professional wrestling match on that show. And I think it showed. I think I've been able to open some people's eyes as far as being ready, being ready for these next level, bigger shows, being able to ask for a little more money, like I'm not just some random indie guy who could do a Spanish Fly and then you don't care about him. I feel like I'm showing people I bring a complete package. Maybe not a technical wrestler, Bret Hart, Zack Sabre Jr. package, but I bring my own package, a believable brawler who's going to tell you and then he's going to show you. You know what I mean? Whether you love me, you boo me, you're gonna feel some type of way about me, and I'm going to entertain you at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think you especially with the promos you do and then the wrestling style, that you have it all, and I think from watching Suburban Fight to watching you now, you progress so much, and every match is exciting and it's very well done, and I'm excited for what's next for you. And as of now, what are your goals as of now? Where do you want to go, and what matches do you want to work with?
There's no specific. Obviously, I could say I want to work with all the companies, all the big companies. But right now, I am happy with NWA. I'm not exclusive to NWA, but I'm curious to see where I go with them. If other opportunities come calling, I'm going to answer. You know what I mean? I'm not a young man, right? I'm not a 20-year-old. I don't have like 20 years to build my career. I got to get it done. I got to pay the bills. So there's no specific company I'm aiming for right now. There's some wrestlers out there. I've never worked with Brody King. I've never wrestled Brody King. He's one of my closest friends in wrestling. I feel like we will have a crazy match.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy in Vegas named Remy Marcel.
Yeah.
I saw him wrestle the first time in Vegas at a show. I was done with my match. We was chilling. I had my bottle of Ciroc. I might have finished half the bottle before I even sat down. So I'm watching his match with Jordan Cruz, who's a guy from Hollywood, who's a good wrestler. He's learning. We're all learning. But like that, they had the best match of the night, better than my match. And this guy, Remy Marcel, I can't even tell you how tall he is. I can't tell you how much he weighs. But sitting in that crowd, the guy looked larger than life. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh man, let me have a match with this fucking guy. We'll tear the roof off the place. So I'm looking forward to wrestling him, whether it's in Vegas or wherever it is. I'm trying to think who else I've spoken to that I feel like we might be. Can't think right now of what any upcoming matches on the horizon. I'm in Texas for the first time this Saturday. I'm wrestling a guy named Edge Stone. I think he's the reality of wrestling champion, Wildcat Sports champion. I wasn't too familiar with his work before the matchup was announced, but this guy is like just as big as me, just as athletic as me, probably not as mean as me, probably not as tough as me. You know, Slice Boogie to Dawn ain't fucking around out here, but I'm looking forward to, just to travel to Texas, to go to Atlanta. Like, I feel like I deserve to be traveling across the states.
Yeah, absolutely.
I deserve to be in Chicago. I deserve to be in Florida. I deserve to be wherever, New Orleans. And I'm gonna earn my money. Like I'm gonna earn my money in that ring, and people are gonna be talking about me. So I'm just looking forward to like shows opening back up, the country opening back up, and making my name. It's time for me. NWA has also helped in the fact that there's promoters all across the country who have traditional wrestling shows, and they're like, who's this guy? I want to bring this guy in. I don't care if I have to pay his flight, and I feel like I deserve that. I feel like I'm slowly progressing. I'm not trying to be. I love California, like the wrestling scene, but I'm not trying to be stuck here. I'm trying to go all over. I'm trying to go to Japan. Like fuck you, me. I'm trying to go to England. Like, I want to go all over the world to own my craft. So I'm just looking forward to like what's next. I can't really say what's next in terms of career or in terms of companies, but I'm on the way up. Just know that. I'm moving up slowly.
Absolutely, man, and it's true, man. You do deserve it, And if there's any promotions out there watching this, please book this man and pay this man because he deserves it, and he will put on a great show like he always does.
Yeah.
And with the last question, if anyone's if someone watching this and wants to pursue to be to become a wrestler and wants to go to school, what advice can you give to that person?
You have to be willing, and you have to have a pain tolerance. Wrestling hurts. You hear it's fake. You hear this. You hear that. Oh, this. Wrestling hurts. At the end of the day, you have to be tough. Every wrestler you see on WWE, even if you think they suck, they are tough. They've been through the ringer. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get bruised. You're gonna get beat. You have to like. I would suggest they go to a tryout, one-day tryout, something like that. See how they like the pain. If they could endure the pain, and if wrestling is more important than pain to them, then you have to come. You have to come in shape. Just come in shape. Listen. Don't be arrogant. Don't think you know it all because you don't know shit. I barely know shit. I'm still learning. Like if I go to WWE, I'm not gonna be acting like a hot shot. I'm gonna shut the fuck up and listen to what they have to tell me because you're always learning. So you just have to be ready to be in pain. Come in the best shape as possible. You have to do cardio, heavy cardio. You don't have to come in with muscles. Muscles will help you progress in your career faster than others, but if you have muscles and you can't run for 20 minutes, you're going to throw up. You're probably going to quit the first day. I know Santino's is tough. I'm pretty sure most pro wrestling schools are tough. They're going to weed out the weak, and the strong will debut. Only like 5 to 10% of each class ever even debuts. I'm thinking out of my class, I don't think maybe I'm the only one who had a debut. Me and one other kid out of a class of 30 plus. So it's not easy. Make sure you want it. If you don't want it, you will quit and you will waste your money. And then you will have a resentment towards something you love, like wrestling. You know what I mean? Let's say you love wrestling and it chews you up and spits you out. You might never want to, you might lose a passion, and wrestling might have been something that helped you with depression, or, you know what I mean? Wrestling is just something you enjoy. It's good to have things you enjoy, so you wouldn't want to be bitter about it. So if you're going to try to be a wrestler, come in, take it as serious as possible, because you don't want wrestling to be ruined for you just because it took you by storm. You know what I mean? Because it's serious business. When you get in that ring and you're learning roles and cardio, it's not wrestling. Training is more grueling than matches. I'll tell you that. All the injuries I've ever had are training, pretty much. In the matches, I'm not going to get hurt. I'm working with a professional. I'm a professional. Sometimes shit goes wrong, but in training, that's where like boys become men, women,
Mm-hmm.
girls become women, and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man.
That would be my advice.
Great advice, great advice. And once again, man, thank you so much for joining with us, man. I really appreciate you. You know, we've been wanting you for a long time, and it was an honor to have you on the podcast, man. Really, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Man. I appreciate all the support.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, is there anything we want to plug in, social medias where the fans can find you?
Slice Boogie on Twitter, Instagram. I'm about to have a pro wrestling shop up soon. I got like a new shirt dropping this week. Slice Boogie, that's it. SLICEBOOGIE. King of the concrete jungle, man. None of these wrestlers fucking with me. Y'all know that. We all know that. Part of my language, but I curse a lot when I grew up. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if y'all gonna bleep me out. You should have told me no cursing.
No, you're fine, man.
You're free. Yeah.
I would have been able to hold my tongue and all that, but
no, you're fine, man.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all, for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, awesome, man. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you. And once again, guys, watching my Championship Wrestling Hollywood every Saturdays on YouTube, KDOC and Fight TV, and also see him. Check him out on NWA on Fight TV. And once again, Slice, thank you so much. And hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to watch, follow this man on social medias, follow his journey. It's an exciting one. And once again, thank you so much for you guys watching. We'll see you guys next time on Championship on the Line podcast.
Yeah.